Hey everybody, welcome to the show. We're going to dive into today, how can I create more money now? So if I haven't met you yet, my name's Crystal Crawford and I'm an Access Consciousness Certified Facilitator. And I am going to invite you to check out a whole universe. First of all, I'm going to invite my lapel mic to be in front of my mouth. And then I'm going to invite you to check out MoneyShiftUniverse.com. So if you're new to me, you're going to find that I talk about money a lot. And mostly because I've changed it in my world. And I'm going to hold this. With what I do, run into a lot of people who want to change money. They want to make more money. They want to be able to go to access classes. Are you one of those people? Are you one of those people that wants to have more money, change money, live in a different way? And in truth, our desire for more money, the question of how can I create more money now, comes from I want to live different. I want to have more choices. I want to not be relegated to the choices that not having as much money creates for me. So when I asked everybody in Infinite Being School, which is my free membership, you can go to infinitebeingschool.com to get into it, what their questions were around money, almost everybody had a question about creating more. So we're going to dive into it. I'm not going to hold back. I am going to tell you my exact process to how I can have more money now. Bear with me. So I wrote it all out because I'm really appreciating having a visual. It's how can I have more money now? There is literally a process I take myself through. And if you end up going through this show or this video and you see the simplicity of the process and you recognize how easy it should be, but it doesn't feel easy, that's where the Money Shift universe comes in. And over these next 21 days, I'm going to be dripping one new Money Shift class per day to start to address all these different energies where we hold ourselves back. Creating more money is really, really easy. Let me show you how. The very first thing that I do with myself, and I'm not kidding, I actually do this, is I have a create session with myself. So a create session with yourself is where you literally sit with yourself, you take yourself on a date, you put this in the calendar, and you honor that time, and you look at all the different things you can create. Thank you, Reese. I appreciate so much the feedback. Okay, so one of the first things that you can do in a create session, and I mean take yourself on a date, put it on the calendar. If you do not honor this and put it in the calendar, it won't happen. But when you do, and you're there on your date, let yourself vent. I think this is an important part of any date that you take yourself on. Let yourself vent. Now, the key to having an effective vent session, and this is not technically access consciousness tools, but this works. The key is to not let yourself live there. If you are living in the venting, you need a class from MoneyShiftUniverse.com. There's a tool to use for that. Living in your vent is one of the keys to trapping yourself. So in your date, let yourself vent. You may not have been listening to you until now. Now, what I see happening for a lot of us is that we just are super kind of run over with the choices we've been making, right? So we've been trying, unconsciously backlogging, doing the best we can with the tools we have available. Life's getting away from us. A lot of us are doing kind of avoiding looking at money and defending it at the same time. So when you take yourself on this date, let yourself vent about all of it. Tell yourself your money story and then move on, okay? Number 2, start asking some new questions. You want to start asking some new questions. Now, how many of you find yourself not asking questions about money? So here's some examples about not asking questions. Oh my God, I don't know what the fuck I'm gonna do. What the fuck is wrong with me that I keep ending up back here? How the fuck, they always have fuck in them, am I gonna make enough money this month? How did that even happen to me? Those are examples of not questions. Those are not questions. They do not get you to where you want to go. So in your create session, you want to start asking some new questions. And probably this should say, start asking questions at all, right? The very, very, very beginnings of this muscle, because this is a muscle, is going, okay, what else is possible here that I haven't considered? Now, we're talking about how can I create more money, right? You're taking yourself on a create date. You're going to let yourself vent about all the blah, blah, blah. I mean, literally open up your phone and tell yourself your story. You're going to start asking some new questions. Now, what could some new questions be around creating more money that you've never considered? What would it take to create more money with total ease would be a question. How many different ways of creating money are there for me that I've never considered would be a question. What else is possible for me and money that I've never considered? If I wasn't eliminating possibilities with time, money, or energy, what's true? What's available? What choices do I have that I haven't yet chosen? Are examples of questions, okay? We're going to do this on this date. Now, somebody just put a mad face. Will you guys heart me and like me on this video to outcreate whoever did that? Thank you. Now, the number 3 thing in this whole create session process is to use stimulators for ideas, okay? Even bad ideas, stimulators. And what I mean by stimulators, if you look in the text of this video, on YouTube, it will be in the description below. In the podcast, it will be in the notes. On Facebook, it will be above the video. You're going to see a list of 10 different stimulators that you can use for ideas. So the list is really, really simple. I think I wrote things like kids, home, work, brain, body, and then go look at the list because I forgot. But here's what I mean by use stimulators for ideas. We're having a create session with ourselves. We're looking at all the different ways we can create money, right? So let's say you have kids. Now, you can either use your kids as a source for not enough energy and not enough time. And I've been a nanny. That was a 24-hour job. I've never been a mom, but I was a nanny and I was a sibling. But the nanny was the hard part. And as the nanny, I was with them 24/7. So I do get it, that they're a lot. There's other things like caring for an aging parent. That's a lot. There's other things like, handling your body if it's chronically got something going on. There are things that go on in your life that are a lot. Some of you are working 2 or 3 jobs. So we've got stuff, right? Are we using all the stuff to eliminate possibilities, or could we use the stuff to look for possibilities? Those are the 2 choices we always have, okay? We can use the stuff to eliminate possibilities, or we can use it to stimulate possibilities, always. And again, you're gonna have stuff come up as I'm talking about this, and I think that's like my next 2 slides. You will have stuff come up during this process. You're gonna have all of your impossibilities come up. You're gonna have all of your issues come up. You're gonna have all of your beliefs that this isn't gonna work come up. If you are currently kind of burnt out and tired, all that energy is going to come up. That's okay, all right? That's what the tools are for. And one of the tools I want to give you while you're doing this create date with yourself is everything this is times a godzillion. I destroy it and create it all. Thank you, Seeples. I appreciate it. Right, wrong, good, bad, pod, poc, all 9 shorts, boys, povids, and beyonds. And that's the clearing statement. You can discover more about it at clearingwithcrystal.com, okay? But you want to use stimulators for ideas. Here's why. The exercise that you want to do when you're on this date with yourself is basically make a list of 100 things that you could do to create cash now if you were going to be homeless tomorrow. That's essentially the exercise we're doing. But what I wanted to give you was these stimulators. So for example, if you have kids, what are all the different things that you could contribute to other people that have kids while taking care of your kids? What are some of the skill sets that you've acquired by having kids that you've never considered as money-making possibilities? For example, caring for kids is obviously one of them. Bathing kids is one of them. Teaching kids is one of them. There's so many that I'm going to forget 82 of them. What are all the skill sets that you've learned with kids that you could use to monetize? You could turn it into a service. A second example, you have a body. Perhaps you are really great at caring for your body. Some of us are really great at that. Some of us are not really great at that. Some of us don't even care we have a body. That's a whole other conversation. But let's say you're great at it. What are all the different skill sets that you've acquired in caring for your body that you could use to create a service? Okay, this is question number one, is starting to look at all the different things, right? Skill sets with your body, skill sets in caring for your home, skill sets that you have in working your job, skill sets that you acquired through going to university. Skills, you're looking for all your skill sets, because trust me, it takes a lot of skills to get to where you are today. If you know how to drive a car, you have a skill set. If you can speak more than one language, you have a skill set. If you can work a computer, you have multiple skill sets. If technology is really easy for you, you have skill sets. If you tutor your own children, there are hundreds of other children that could use your skill sets. You see what I'm saying, where I'm going here? So if you have a job, you have skill sets. Even if your job is fast food, or you work in a call center, or something that you think has no value, it does, if you're willing to look at it as a skill set. So that's the first thing you want to sort of mine your world for, is what are all my different skill sets with this, with this, with this, with this, with this, okay? That's what I mean by use stimulators for ideas. That's going to stimulate ideas. With the stuff that comes up as you're doing this, right? I don't have enough time, I don't have enough money, this is going to take too much out of me. It's going to pop up, make a note, and keep going, all right? And the same is true of like impossibility stuff where you're like, I'm never going to be able to do this, how is anybody going to find out about this? All these points of view, just put a pin in it, make a note and put a pin in it, and move on with this process, okay? You're on your date with yourself, having a create session. So then the next thing you want to do is what I said, make a list of all ideas, even bad ones. All the ideas are getting of time on the floor, even bad ideas. So you're going to use all these stimulators, write down all your ideas, okay? That's going to be too much. It's going to be too much. You just be ready for it to be too much. The next part of this exercise I think is really interesting, because I want you to make a list of all the things that you want to keep in your life. And the second list I want you to make is things that can go. Because here's something that I see a lot of us doing. We are essentially trying to like hold on to two ropes at the same time, right? So I was talking to a lady on a call the other day, and she was like, how do I make more money with this particular set of circumstances, right? It wasn't like, what's it going to take for me to have more money no matter what it takes? It was, I want to have more money, but I'm not willing to let this go, and I'm not willing to let this go, and I don't understand why I'm stuck. So the thing is that a lot of us, for some of us, it's going to require a big transition shift to have more money. For others of us, we can just add services to what we're already doing, right? We can get better at bundling things, packaging things. We can offer, additional services to things we're already doing. And I want you to look at that, right? I want you to look at, what am I already doing and what can I add to it? What am I doing that is taking up all my time that I actually need to just swap out for something else? Like, is something maybe I love doing or I think I have to do, but is literally like eating the time and the money and I just need something different. What am I doing naturally that I could charge for is another question. And what is it that, and then this exercise. What are the things that I want to keep in my life? So for example, if you really value, I follow somebody on social media who's huge, and she posts on all platforms all the time. She's really gotten good at quick creation. So you would never know, actually, by the way she shows up on social media, that she has children, and she has 4 children. And one of the things she posted the other day, she's like, there are things that I will give up. I will give up answering every single email that I get in a day. I will give up, I don't even know what else she said. That one stuck out to me because I could resonate. She's like, but the things I won't give up are time with my children, time with my family, and then there was a few other things, but again, those stuck out. And I realized, like, this is true for all of us. Like, there's some things that are just really important. And so you have to look at that. Like, what are the things that are really important to you to keep in your life that you're not willing to give up or sacrifice, that are part of life worth living for you? And what are the things that can go? And an easy way to find these things for yourself is to fire everyone and everything in your life and see which ones you'd bring back. Okay? And then you're going to ask yourself this question: what choices do I have for both? For more money and the important stuff? The one thing I want to say about this question is you may have to break down the important stuff into energies, and I'm going to explain that. That's the next slide. Sometimes the important stuff needs to be broken down into energies. So I was just talking to you about the lady on the call who had two things, right? She's like, well, how do I have more money, but I'm not willing to let anything go? And it was essentially, she had this job that wasn't paying her enough, but took most of her money and most of her time. And she had this other thing, and I can't remember what it was, but she wasn't willing to let either one of them go, but holding on to all of it wasn't allowing her to have the life that she wanted. Can anybody relate? So I said, well, you got to be willing to let go of anything that's not going to contribute to you getting to where you want to go. And I apologize for the audio hum. That is not my mic. That is my computer. Listen. When I press on my computer, the audio hum goes away. When I let my computer go, the audio hum does not go away. So I need to take it into a Mac store, and I appreciate your patience with me. So she wasn't willing to let anything go. So I said, well, you got to be willing to let anything go to have what you want to have as your life. So you could tell the conflict that this brought up, right? And that can be conflictual. Like, well, there's certain things I'm not willing to let go of. But when you are willing to let it all go and then look at what you really want to bring back, then it's a choice. Then you are bringing back what really works for you. So the question is, like, what's it going to take to have more money and what really works for me? And I will have both. And to that end, not to that end, but like for the purposes of creating that, I'm willing to let go of anything that doesn't serve that doesn't create that, basically. And so for this lady, what really needed to happen is like she really valued this job. And you could tell that it was just some things about this job. It was like these energies about this job that she really valued. And it could be like she'd been there for a long time and she was going to get a pension. The people were really great. And that's what I mean by sometimes you have to break down the things you don't technically really want to let go of, but you know if you hold on to them, nothing's going to work, into their energies. There's got to be something where you're kind of looking at, okay, what's so valuable to me about this that I won't let it go? Okay, sometimes that has to happen. So that's another part of the exercise. And then after all of this, you're going to go to bed or go for a walk. You're going to stop your date because you have just stirred up the field, you've put the hoe in the ground, you've tilled all the soil, and that's that. You did what you came to do. And that's it. You're going to go to bed and you're going to go for a walk and you're going to have a coffee, and that's that. And you're literally just going to let all of this rest and let all of this percolate. Now, I know that's the antithesis of like action plan. But the thing about how things work is that we are like the earth. If you look at, for example, wanting to have a new garden, pretend the garden is your life. And you've got space for a new garden at your house, at your casa, and you've got the idea of having a new garden, but the new garden needs to be instituted, right, for it to grow food. Right now, if you look outside your window to that plot where the garden could be, you know, it's grown over, there's lots of weeds. The nature has had its way with that plot. So for there to be a garden, you're gonna have to go out and like dig it all up and shake off the, prepare the soil, maybe put in some raised beds. Like there's a lot of prep to be done. And then after that, there's the buying of the seeds and planting out the garden and planting the seeds. And finally, the most anticlimactic part, the seeds are in the ground and all you can do is wait, right? I think this is the funny part about having a garden, is very, very, very anticlimactic. It's so much work for like nothing, for a period of time, right? Like some things start popping up in like 3 or 4 days, but most things take, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, a month. Then you have winter wheat that takes 3 years. So what you've done with yourself in this date is you've tilled up the soil, you've done other things, planted the seeds, and now you need to like go for a walk, because you're not going to try to figure any of this out. Trying to figure out how you're going to create more money will kill all your possibilities for creating more money. And then I put onto this thing in the morning, do your money mindset makeover. Now you can create this for yourself, or you can go buy it in the Money Shift Universe shop and do it with me. What I mean by this is now what you're going to do is you're going to put your energy into 2 things, only 2 things. You're going to put your energy into pock and potting, which are clearing out whatever energy comes up around money that isn't I am power, I am awareness, I am creativity, I am control, I am money. And that's the only thing that creates a flow of money, is like being that. And there's a class coming out on that. And you're going to clear anything that isn't that. And then you're going to put your energy into what choices do I have available today to create more money and cash right away. And you're going to let things bubble up. And that right there, my friends, is how you create a flow of money. The only other thing I would add is that it's very key to include cash flow in your daily priorities. Now, I think this is, I don't know how many of you guys have watched Ramit Sethi's reality show on Netflix, which is How to Get Rich, or I Will Teach You How to Get Rich. It's really interesting. If you're in North America, I'm pretty sure it's on the US Netflix, and if you're not, I apologize. Hopefully it's somewhere. It's an interesting series because Ramit sits down with these couples that really have gotten pretty unconscious about money. And it is mostly couples, which I think is interesting. And there's so much miscommunication or non-communication. So much charge comes up with these couples and what they've got going on. But by the end of the episode, most of the couples are moving towards more clarity, more ease. They're selling stuff, they're consolidating credit cards, they've got different accounts open, they've started new revenue streams. But it's quite a process. And so, but one of the things he said is he's like, you have to keep top of mind your cash flow situation. And I see a lot of us doing this thing where we just kind of stay unconscious about this. And this tip right here, keeping my cash flow at the top of my priority list, has allowed my life to work for the last 10 years. I have been living a digital nomad existence for the last 7 or 8 years full time. And I say that because I don't have a regular job. I don't have a paycheck. Like, I'm the source of what shows up in my life, as a lot of you are. A lot of you guys are entrepreneurs. So if I don't keep top of the list cash flow, I am inevitably shocked by what's coming down the line, right? Especially with the way that I live. I take a lot of Access Consciousness classes. They are not cheap. I do a lot of traveling to facilitate and take classes. So I don't live an inexpensive lifestyle. There's money required to live the way that I live. So if I don't keep cash flow up here, I can't do that, which doesn't work for me. So I'm always looking at it. I'm always creating for now and for the future, for now and for the future. So I would say you have 3 jobs, which is clearing out the stuck energies around money, asking yourself, what choices do I have available today to create more money and cash right away? And how can I do this in a way that includes everything in my life? And not trying to think about it, but making sure like you're staying very clear and aware of your cash flow situation. And in being aware of cash flow, you got to be aware of the future as well. Like, what are the bills that are coming? What's going to be required, moving forward? What do you need to put in place to stay aware of that maybe you haven't yet? So you can see we're back around to like having a create session with yourself. So it might require another date. a clarity. This was our creative jam session. Maybe you need a clarity session with yourself. But it's actually harder to not make money than it is to make money. It takes more energy to freak out about this than it does to just get busy. She goes, I literally get anxiety when you say keep cash flow on the top of your list. Eek. Okay, cool. So that's avoidance, and that's what's creating your financial reality. So this is exactly why I created MoneyShiftUniverse.com, you guys. So what you're gonna find in that shop is $21 classes. They're low dollar on purpose and amazing on topics, right? Different energies that you struggle with or that come up for you in this process. The process is here. The process is clear. Literally, if you use this process, you will be so empowered, you'll never have another money problem again. Now, what you're going to be handling is all the stuff that comes up for you around the process, right? It's just like filing your taxes is pretty simple. You get your information together, you file your taxes. What stops us is all the energies that come up for us around filing taxes, right? So it's not that you can't create money. It's that all of this stuff that comes up for you around creating money is the thing you're using to stop you. That's why I created the Money Shift Universe. So over the next 23 days, and if you're listening to this in the future, you just go to MoneyShiftUniverse.com and this won't be relevant, but if you're live right now, today, the first class dropped. And if you're live today, over the next 2 or 3 weeks, you are, for every class that you purchase to help you, to contribute to you, you will also be entered into a draw for a 4-pack of private sessions with me, so that we can really work on your money situation and we can get creative, we can extrapolate, we can clear stuff, we can use those sessions for anything. So you got stuff coming up. Yep, so that's fine. So head to the MoneyShiftUniverse.com, grab your money mindset makeover. That first class that dropped today is the thing to use every single day around stuff that's coming up for you around money. So regardless of what class you get, I'm going to invite you to bump up to that class. So it's available today. And this is the thing. It's like, if you stop at what's coming up for me is blah, blah, blah. If you stop there and you sit in the middle of the road and you do nothing, your life never changes. But if you go, oh my God, what's coming up for me is this, and then you pick up a set of tools to handle it, that is you being the badass of your life. So I created this for you. I created this so you can change your stars, so you can be empowered. I'm excited for you to have it. MoneyShiftUniverse.com opens today. Let me know in the comments below if this contributed to you. Please share this with a friend who you know needs it. It is not hard to create money. This is the literal process that I use every single time. And for the stuff you have coming up, there are tools now. We're here. So go you, go team. I adore you. I'll see you next week.